So, you're intrigued by the concept of flipping a class. You're excited about the possibility of incorporating active learning into your classroom. And you know that in order to do that, you have to take some of the material that you have typically covered in your law school classroom and move it out of the classroom and online. But you're a little unsure about how to go about doing that. I'm going to walk you through the process of making online videos for use in a flipped class. I'm going to base this on my own experience. 2 years ago, my colleague Terry Kogan and I decided to flip our contracts class. Disclaimer, we did have help here from Aaron DeWald, a member of our IT staff, who is also working on a PhD in learning science, particularly using technology in education. Okay. What I found from that experience is that we can do this. You already have the tools in place that will allow you to flip a class. Okay. Let's start first by thinking about what the online materials are going to do best. Okay. They're best at facilitating knowledge transfer. On this slide, knowledge transfer is at the bottom of the pyramid. It's the remembering and understanding, the shallow learning, shallow but foundational. In the law school context, this means the black letter law, the basic doctrine. For contracts, we based our videos on the sections of the restatement second. Okay. These online materials, these online videos, are going to replace the short lecture that you give when you introduce a topic, or give an overview, or sum up on review. And the operative word here is short. Each video should be no more than 8 minutes in length. And this is not an arbitrary number. It is based on research. Okay? Limiting your videos to 8 minutes has another advantage. It keeps your students from feeling overburdened. In contracts, we had 37 separate videos. Despite that number, we did not have a single student complain that the videos were too much extra work. Typically, they only had to watch one video per class, and they seemed to think that the extra 8 minutes of work was time well spent. Now, limiting your videos to 8 minutes does not mean that you take every subject you cover and cram it into 8 minutes. What it means is that you must define the topic of each video sufficiently discreetly that it can be covered in 8 minutes. For example, statute of frauds and contracts is a single subject, but it's a complex one. It needed to be subdivided. We found that it took 3 videos, 3 8-minute videos to cover the statute of frauds. Once you've decided on the topic of your video, producing the video is just a 3-step process. The first step is to write a script, the second step is to assemble your images, and the third step is to combine those two into a video. The first step, writing the script. You write a script so that you make sure you cover the material you want to cover in the time allotted. It also allows you to adapt your language for speaking rather than reading the material. Okay. 8 minutes translates to between 2 and 3 pages of single-space type. At Utah, Terry and I split up the 37 contract videos between us, the scripts for that, which made the task much more manageable. And I discovered that if I was familiar with the material, it only took me a couple of hours to crank out a single script. The second step is to assemble your visuals. Now, you can get your images from clip art, you can buy them from a commercial vendor, or you can make them yourselves. Then you assemble them into a slideshow using PowerPoint or Keynote. Okay. I bet that you already have PowerPoint slideshows that could be repackaged as the visuals for a video. A word about the slides. Okay? It's very important that on your images you don't have text at the same time the video audio is speaking. Okay? A learner cannot listen and read at the same time. The reason is that the same part of the brain processes words, all words, whether the words are spoken, whether they're hearing the words, or whether the words are in writing. So if your video is displaying one text and the audio is talking about something else, or even talking about that text, the learner's not going to be able to take both in. If you do have to display text on one of your slides, there should be no audio accompanying that slide. The final step is probably the most intimidating for the typical law professor, and that is to take the script and marry it with the visuals into a finished video. And you basically have three choices here. Okay? Mini lecture capture, recording on your computer, or using a multimedia program like ScreenFlow. Okay? You could set up a video recorder and record yourself giving an 8-minute lecture while you display the slides on a screen. The advantage of this method is you're doing something like you do every day in class. The disadvantage is that unless you have access to a video recording studio, the logistics of arranging a classroom and getting the video set up can be cumbersome. We actually tried this method for our first experiment at flipping, and the faculty member involved discovered that it was very, very time-consuming. As Jennifer talked about, you can also use your computer. You can record yourself on your computer while the slides are being displayed on the computer. The advantage of this method is that you can work at your own pace and on your own time. The disadvantage is that the production values, particularly the sound quality, are going to be less than ideal. And remember, you're asking your students to listen to these. Okay? Oops, I forgot to advance. The third is that you could use a multimedia program to marry the slides and the script. In this instance, once you've got your slideshow put together, you record your script as a separate product. At Utah, we have an audio recording studio that any faculty member can reserve, or you can purchase an online professional-grade microphone for about $150 and set it up in a quiet place and record yourself. Or, better yet, you can do what we did at Utah, which is to have someone else record the script, which from our perspective was the most time-efficient way to do about it. Once you have your slideshow and your audio recording, you input it into the program, and the program allows you to match snippets of the audio to each screenshot. Okay? No matter which method you choose, at the end you're going to have a finished video, which you can distribute to your students in a number of ways. You can put them on YouTube, you can use a class website, or you could use the legal ed website as well. It's at this point that you ought to be thinking about building in assessments for that shallow learning, that knowledge transfer, to make sure that the knowledge in fact was transferred to the learners. You can do this through multiple choice or true-false questions that you put online. I use a separate document for my quizzes, which I distribute through a university-wide platform called Canvas. I like using this because it allows me to track which students are taking the quizzes and how well they're doing. Okay? The response from students is an overwhelming yes. Students really, really, really like these videos. Student evaluations and independent surveys that we've administered have come back overwhelmingly positive. Okay? If you would like some help in flipping a class, feel free to contact the Center for Innovation at Legal Education. In fact, I'll make you a proposal. You produce the scripts with or without the slideshow, and we'll take it from there. The only thing is, of course, you have to allow us to use them as well as you using them. But that's the trade-off. And as I said at the beginning, you have not completed the flip of your class until you then plan what active learning exercises you're going to do in class. And this is a shameless plug for you contract professors. This is my text, Developing Professional Skills Contracts, which is a set of 10 exercises to use in class. Thank you.